Yeah, I see what you mean. It gets stuck right on the McLaren video. That's so weird.
Hello guys and welcome to Division 2 in Netherlands. This is round 7. Oh, it's been a hectic few rounds, mate, and I am, it's Dito, obviously just Digicoms with Div 4, but I am joined with Rekus this time in Div 2. How you feeling about tonight's race, mate?
Yeah, Zandvoort is gonna be a pretty fun race. Weather might play a factor in it. And it does rain a bit in the Netherlands. It's a fun track, short track, a lot of good overtaking opportunities, but also very fine margins. So I think it's gonna be a good race. Hopefully we don't see too many incidents or safety cars, but yeah, I think we're in for 36 stops of fun.
Yeah, if it's anything to go off with Div 4, how close it was in that race, I think we're in for a really exciting night. But I think the boys are just loading in now. I don't think they're just in qualifying yet. But before we jump over to the gameplay, we'll thank our main sponsor, AI369, and then of course the rest of the sponsors, SimLab, Pagnian, and Speed Nation. So we will jump over to the gameplay now and see what these guys can do in qualifying. Obviously back to full qualifying this week, with the one shot for the 100% last week being obviously mixed. People's opinions on that, but it did definitely shake up things. Back to the full qualifying tonight. We've got a few names in tonight that we haven't seen before. Obviously Aussie 2K Goat making a return. Just seeing who else is ringing a bell that we don't usually see on track. Zanisu, I can't even pronounce that. I'm just going to call him Zen. Don't think I've seen that name before.
Zenitsu, he competed last time in Portimao, got a P10 finish, I believe, in Ferrari. But he is a relatively new face. I think he just debuted last week.
Okay, my bad. But we will see what he can do tonight. So a few guys to watch tonight. Full stack grid, 19 drivers. So close to obviously full, but it should be a good night for sure. So we see a Red Bull already diving out. I don't know who that is. It might be Limitless Draco. He will be coming out first on the soft tyre. It looks nice and sunny, as we haven't seen any rain here yet, which is very uncommon for Netherlands.
Yeah, indeed. This track is a track that usually tends to see rain, and it can be a bit slippery too, because this track, you're going to be carrying a lot of speeds into these corners because of the intense, almost NASCAR-like banking that you see at quite a few corners around this track. I mean, it's one of the shorter tracks on the calendar, so lap times are probably going to be in the lower 1 minute ranges. So the slowest time you might see might be around a 1:11, possibly. So yeah, times are going to be getting pretty close to probably that 1:09, maybe 1:08 range, but probably a safe bet is the minute 9 to minute 10 range for this track. So yeah, but I mean, if the weather comes into play, then it can really shake things up.
Yeah, we obviously haven't seen any yet throughout the weekend, but should be interesting if we got some rain. It did look a little bit dark in Div 4, but no rain on track. Anyway, Limitless Draco starting his first lap and will be the first to complete a fly, so we're right on board with him. Through the first sector, no problems yet. Really, really crucial. You get a nice entry into that hairpin. Some people using a wide line like we see in the real F1. Some people choosing not to. Different advantages for both, I would say. But Limitless Draco coming through, flat through that fast right-hander. And he'll come down into... This track's really, really interesting, and there's a lot of trail braking. You have to really be turning braking at the same time. A lot of flowing corners. Very, very few stop-go corners, opposed to Bahrain. Limitless Draco, obviously fastest in the first and second sector, but will be the first to complete his time. Starts to wrap up his lap now, got a fair bit of battery to burn to the line. So seeing this also throughout this game, especially how crucial the battery is, and he will set a 110.4. So Div 4 we saw a lot of 109s, so not a bad banker lap for Q1 for Limitless Draco. We'll jump on board with someone else now. I think, who else is on a lap? It looks like the McLaren, maybe Dale, possibly next to finish the lap. So he comes across the line now, burning all his battery, used a little bit of his deploy, goes fastest with a 9.5. So there we go, that big gap back to Draco there, solid banker for Dale. Watanabe goes P2 with a 10.0. Another new name, sorry, I missed, is Kamikaze, making a return. He was racing in Rush a few seasons ago, actually for my team, Williams. So good to see him make a return, see what he can do tonight. JDI now in P1 with Aston showing their strength again. We saw how strong they were in Div 4, Wreckers. See if they can continue that into Div 2.
Yeah, so just from what I've seen from these divisions is that Aston Martin has a lot of ups and downs. This has been a season of really high highs. They've had some really strong performances across all the divisions, but it's just that some weekends just really fall apart at the seams for this team. So hopefully this is one of those weekends for them where they can kind of pull it together and pull out some strong results. We know Watanabe and JDI have some really solid pace. And I mean, we've seen them do excellent things. But the entire Aston Martin driver lineup in every single division is very, very solid. Um, but currently tied for P5 in the overalls with Ferrari with 536 points apiece. So this race is going to be really crucial. They're going to want to at minimum beat Ferrari so they can lock in P5 at least in this stage of the championship. I mean, they're still within a good points radius to actually overtake Williams if Williams have a rough weekend at it. Williams are not even 10 points ahead of both Ferrari and Aston. So it's going to be a very crucial weekend for Aston Martin. They need to go ahead and get things right. And it all starts here with qualifying. Now, I know we were talking about earlier the difference between the one shot and the full quali. With one shot, you really only get one chance. So if you have the slightest mistake on any part of this track, and this track, it could be pretty easy, especially if you take a line that's a bit too hot or a bit too wide. Even though we did mention that the wider line is viable, it leads to some of the best overtaking on this track, and particularly in turns 1 and turn 11. But at the same time, it can really mess up your qualifying lap if you have only one shot. So, and we've also seen it throughout the season in Div 2 and all the other divisions where you can have a very solid Q1 and you can have a very solid Q2, but Q3 can just be awful and then you get caught up in the mess. Or we've even seen it where somebody topped the timing table in Q1 and then got eliminated in Q2. So the key word that needs to be on Aston Martin's mind for this race is consistency.
Absolutely, mate. A few guys finishing up their laps now. Squash Josh also on a lap reserving up tonight from Div 3. Looking solid there. Aussie 2K Goat just finishing in front of his teammate there, 10.0. Look how close these times are. Hater moves up now to P6, 9.8 for him. Squash Josh did go fastest in that middle sector. Kachow now goes, wow, 109.1. That's going to be a hard time to beat.
Yeah.
That is rapid. Almost in the 8s, which we haven't seen, obviously, this tonight. Squash Josh goes up to P6, so that's a great time for him. McLaren looking solid too, P3 and P4, and this is where the times are starting to drop now. Shifty is into P10, but look how close it is from really P1 to P14. It's super close. Well, obviously maybe not P1, but maybe P3 down. Super close. Spry also on a lap.
Yeah, I mean it's really close between these drivers, like you said. Only 1.4 seconds separates P14 to P1, and even then, looking at the range from P3 all the way to P6, they're all within 3/10 of P1. So I mean, it's really tight qualifying. This is a shorter track, but still, it's extremely impressive what these drivers are able to pull out. And these times are only gonna get quicker as the track gets rubbered in.
Yeah, obviously only in Q1. See how quick the track can get by Q3. Sometimes we can see about a second improvement. One Truth hasn't set a lap yet. Can make some type of movement up. He's set the fastest middle sector, so this could be a really good time from him. But I'm pretty sure it just says that usually when they haven't set a time, so I'm not sure who that is in the background there, mowing through the pit boards.
I believe that was Dante. I think that was the Sauber, the sole Sauber we have on the grid here tonight. Although, oh well, that's a time good enough for P12, a 109.9. It might have had a purple sector, but I just don't think that the rest of the lap was exactly what was needed. But I mean, he's still got 9 minutes to go in and try to go through again. And Kachow is deciding that he's going to set a lightning fast time and go ahead and just retire. But do you think he's safe is the question. I am very certain that he is safe, but I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very simple.
Absolutely safe.
Yeah.
Definitely for Q1.
I mean,
but
yeah.
we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, he's definitely safe for this one. A few guys obviously aren't. XD Lamb hasn't came out yet. Dante, I think, was out, but may have some damage. Because the last I did see, he was in some trouble there. But Plugger comes across the line and goes up to P13. So he's reserving up tonight too, obviously. And is just hanging on in this first Q1 session. Dante still looks like he's coming out now. Lamb surely has to come out soon too. Who else is on a lap? Looks like Dale, maybe.
He's about a tenth and a half off into the first sector. He's going to hit the DRS straight going into sector number 2. Now, here comes the really tricky chicane. Oh, it's a purple sector 2 as well. I mean, I'm seeing purple sectors, but the timing table says he's a tenth and a half off. So, curious if that's a glitch or something, but as it sits right now, he was a tenth and a half off in both sector 1 and sector 2. And he's going to dive into the pits, so I think that was pretty accurate. Lock the brakes there, going into the pits.
Yeah, I think Watanabe's also on a lap. No, he's done 2 laps on his sauce, so I don't think so. Zanistu is out of fuel. He'll be in the pits. Shifty's going to dive in the pits too, I'd say. It's just started the lap, so maybe not. Right on board with Shifty. He is definitely needing an improvement here to get out of Q1. Down in 16th currently. Goes fastest in the first sector. This looks like to be on used tyres for Shifty. Could be wrong there.
It showed he had improvement in Sector 1. He was just under half a hundredth up in Sector 1. So we'll see if Sector 2 is going to be any kind of improvement. He's up. It's marginal, but he is up. He is by 0.089 faster in Sector 2. So, I mean, that's not going to improve his... Well, that might put him ahead of Plugger. That might just put him in P15. But that's about all he's going to get unless he has a massive, massive run coming out of Sector 3. We'll see where the Williams goes. It is an improvement good enough for P13, but I mean, I don't know if that's going to be safe. I think he's going to need another improvement of at least a few 10.
Yeah, I would be thinking he'd go out again. I'm not sure. It depends what he thinks behind, but look how close everyone is. You're talking about another 10th and he'd be up into P7, P8. So, really interesting here, and we see it all the time with full qualifying. It really can shake things up as Spry looks to be trying to improve his lap in P12. He does. He will go up to P8. That already moves Shifty down, so I don't think he's safe at all, mate, and I think we're going to see everyone dive out of the pits very soon. Dante probably the only one on a lap currently. Maybe not this lap, maybe next lap.
Yeah, I think he just recently did a lap. That lap, his last lap did shoot him up into, it was P9, but I think he got demoted recently back to P10, but he's in a better spot. He's actually only a single thousandth off of P9 with Aiden is rated in the Alpine, so really, really close times here, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, at least in the later stages of qualifying, especially on a track like this. A kind of shorter track. I mean, it's not like Spa or Portimao, the last 2 tracks we went to. This track is pretty short. It's 2.6 miles or 4.2 kilometers, or right about 4.3 kilometers. So, I mean, it's a shorter track. Traffic can really be a problem here. So, I mean, yes, the track has got the most rubber the closer it gets to that, the end of the time, but the traffic is also going to be pretty intense, so you might accidentally get caught up in that traffic if you just get the timing ever so slightly wrong.
Absolutely, mate. As we see One Truth's already out. Hato already out. So these boys trying to set their times early. I'm just confirming. I just confirmed with Lamb just because I was starting to get a little bit worried, being his TP and all. But he is definitely coming out eventually. He's just leaving it to the last minute. So we'll have to wait and see how he goes with that. But anyway, these guys will all start folding out of the pits now. If they are worried, I'd say probably from about maybe P6, P7 down would be starting to feel a bit heated with how close it is. There's barely a knife edge between all these guys, and obviously only the bottom 5 go out from P15 down, so they're not all in trouble. But I certainly would be looking behind me if I was some of these guys.
Yeah, just bringing up a point we talked about earlier with how close these times were. Now, with the exception of Lamb, all the times that were set are within 0.8 of each other. So P1 is not even a full second ahead of P18. That just shows how tight qualifying is going to be. And these times they're gonna shift quite a lot, especially towards the closing stages of quali. I mean, now we're down to the last like 2.5 minutes, so all these cars are really going to start filing out. And we see our third retirement. Now the top 3 drivers have retired from this Q1 session of Kachow, Kamikaze, and Dale. I don't think we'll see any other retirements from this. But we are going to see a flurry of activity just getting out of the pits. They're going to go for it. They just got to hope they don't run into traffic. Now, compared to some tracks, getting a tow isn't super duper strong here, just with how twisty this track is. I mean, getting a tow out of the last corner, then going into turn 1. I have the names of these corners, but I'm not even gonna bother trying to pronounce them. But I mean, you can get a tow through the last corner to turn 1, but even then, it's that's really the only spot you could probably realistically get a decent tow. So, unlike Monza or Spa, teamwork is going to help, but not to the same severity. So there's a little bit less planning that the PPs and engineers might have to do, but you still got to worry about traffic, especially in Q1.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. And Limitless Draco couldn't improve there. I think he did improve, but not enough. So I don't think he'll be able to get out of this session. Aussie 2K Go did set the fastest purple sector. Lamb's now on his lap too. So everyone, there's a lot of people coming out actually. A lot of people worried about making it into the next session by the looks of it, mate. Because I certainly would think usually you'd be safe in a P4, P5, but we'll have to wait and see because these are super close. We saw it in Div 4, mind you. Aussie goes across the line in P3.
Woo, that was a quick time. He was about 0.2 off of Kachow, but only 1,000th off of P3 of Kamikaze. So yeah, now with the exception of Plugger, everybody is within 0.7 of P1 right now. So P1 to P17 only separated by 0.7. So like I said, we saw it in Div 4. The qualifying is gonna be really close here, and this is only Q1. Things are gonna get super dicey as we progress through qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. As Lamb crosses the line for his one and only lap, and he goes P2, so he's definitely safe. We'll jump back down to Plugger, who's getting a tow from his teammate by the looks of it. He needs a massive lap here to get into the next session. He goes wide there and kicks up the dust a bit, and I think his teammate might have done that, sorry, and DRS on. Let's see where this can get him. He needs a massive lap. And it will move him up to P12.
He got it.
Aiden is raiding now.
He got it.
Fastest in the middle sector. He needs a big lap too. P14 currently. Not safe. Goes up to P7. So these times are getting quicker and quicker. Shifty Wizards could be eliminated in this session. Flashing fuel. I think he's done. I don't think he can go again. He's got no battery. I mean, he's got full battery, not low fuel. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's qualifying done and dusted. I believe we are losing P16 to P19. I don't. I always forget if this game actually drops out P15 if there's only 19, but I think it only drops out the bottom 4 for this stint. We'll see in a few seconds when the timing table returns. But yeah, so at the moment it is Watanabe, Shifty, Hato, and the One Truth, and possibly Draco. Draco might have got by through the skin of his teeth if it doesn't count P15 as an elimination. But still, I mean, that was a really close qualifying session. I would not be surprised if these orders jumps quite drastically in between. So okay, it did keep P15. So just by the skin of his teeth, Limitless Draco holds on through qualifying. But so we've lost Watanabe, Shifty Wizard, Hato, and then the One Truth are our 4 eliminated drivers.
Yeah, so if those boys want to jump into the comments box, let us know, have a chat. No, I don't think Shifty will, but we will have to wait and see if anyone want to have a chat. But yeah, interesting qualifying, mate. That was super close, and I think one little mistake could have cost you about 4 or 5 positions in that. So this is going to be interesting now to try and get into the Q3 session. You are going to need a serious lap time to beat these guys, because there are some serious guys on the pace tonight. It'll be a very good race if it keeps going this way, mate.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see if how this qualifying kind of evolves, because I mean, we've seen it before, and I think Hungary was a good example. We saw Ziff, which I don't think we've seen him since, but we've seen Ziff get, you know, top of the times in Q1 and then Q2 get eliminated at the bottom of Q2. So you just gotta really keep that consistency. And I mean, you can overtake at Zandvoort. It's a good track for overtaking, but with turn 1 being kind of tight as it is, the farther ahead you are, likely the better. Just because you don't have that possibility of getting, you know, sandwiched and turn into a Klondike bar and get eliminated before your race really had a chance to get off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Dante first out on track in the Kick Sauber. Looking to set a good performance tonight. Obviously, only one car on the grid for Kick, one having a race ban. Dante first to set the pace. Few guys still sitting in the pits, but most guys rolling out now. So most guys might be setting it a lap on their used tyres first up. It's possible, and then they do their faster run at the end of the session if they're trying to save a set of tyres.
Yeah, so tires are going to be pretty important here. And it also depends if we get any kind of weather shenanigans for Q3, because we did see in the preseason where we saw some weather shenanigans in qualifying sessions. Kind of like you have dry one session and wet the next, or we've seen it where intermediates go to wets and affect the intermediates. Not likely to be the case here today, but weather can really play a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we're expecting any rain in this session, but it's possible. We have seen it before. Definitely here at Netherlands. Dante looking quite quick. He has land behind him, I think, and he will be getting a nice tow from that. As we see, someone has just jumped in the comms box.
It is Hato.
Hato, mate. Unfortunate result in Q1, being eliminated. What happened, mate, was you just couldn't piece the lap together, or not your track, mate?
I don't know, it just seems like I just couldn't find the pace, really. It's kind of those tracks where once you found your best time, it's like even harder to improve, especially with how slow these corners are. So unfortunately, I improved, but not enough.
Yeah, obviously still a long race up ahead. Starting where you are isn't the worst. Sometimes that can help avoid some of the chaos in the first corner. So how you feeling towards the race, and obviously your teammate as a TP too in P. Well, he hasn't set a time yet, but up into Q2 for his first race tonight. How are you feeling about that too?
Yeah, look, it's good. I know what he can do. So hopefully he can secure some solid points tonight, and avoid all the carnage that can happen, and we'll move from there.
Yeah, mate. Well, I wish you the best, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the race. I'll pass you over to Rekus.
Thank you.
So, hey, though, obviously you did say that, trying to improve your lap time here just feels kind of hard at times. Are you feeling that you can move up in terms of race pace when it comes to the full race itself? Do you think you can make a few positions? Or are you banking on kind of like turn one chaos, as you were saying earlier, to kind of help move you up the standings a bit?
Look, I can probably rely on both. I know I'm always much better on race pace, but we got some, I'd say, some impatient people in here, so it might be a big crash on turn one. So hopefully, if there is, I can avoid it and still skate through and make up a fair amount of spots.
Do you feel that we're gonna possibly see rain in this race? And if so, do you think it would be to your advantage or your disadvantage?
Well, luckily there will be no rain, so best case scenario.
Well, there you go.
Understandable, especially with how kind of temperamental the intermediates and wet tires could be.
Yep, definitely.
Well, there you go.
Alright, well,
Thanks for jumping in, mate. Having a chat. I know it's not always fun, but hopefully you get a little bit of a break before the race now and kick back and enjoy the long race to come. Obviously, think about your strategy, help out Aussie, get through to the next session. He's looking pretty good now, but we'll talk to you later, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Anyway, we have Aiden is Raiden, I think, next to finish a lap because he has not set one yet. He invalidated on his first one, which was unfortunate. See what he can piece together here. Burns the rest of his battery. Was fastest in one of those sectors. We'll go up to P7. So not a bad time. He'll probably want to go out again towards the end. Both McLarens looking to improve. One out on a lap now. MJ Roller yet to set a time. Has been relatively quick this season. Has had some bad luck though, but is in a very dominant team and looking like he could be on a solid lap here. I'm just trying to see his sector times come up relative to the rest of the grid.
yeah, I mean, Rolla, he's in a good spot. He's currently P3 in the championship behind his teammate and Yuki Bear, who for this race is in a Mercedes as opposed to the Haas like he typically is. But yeah, I mean, the McLaren squad has been doing really good here in Division 2. Believe they are currently at the top of the constructors standings. Yes, they are. They're at the top of the constructors standings here in Division 2. They got a pretty solid gap. 35 points to Haas in P2. The overall, I mean, obviously the big one is the overalls. Currently in the lead of the constructors here, but they're only second overall, second to Mercedes. So, I mean, yeah, Rollins had some really good pace, but there's still a good amount of work to be done because we have quite a few races remaining left this season. So, you got to keep that consistency, keep that dominance up throughout the entire season, and that's how you're gonna keep your place. But yeah, it's really hard to deny the pace of these McLarens, especially when Rolla is now currently sitting in the P4 in this very competitive grid. And speaking of ridiculously quick times, can we just can we look at Kamikaze with a 109.002?
Yeah, that's super close to getting into the 8s, isn't it? Super close. Rapid time from Kamikaze. First race back in the rush. So that's an awesome time from him. Aussie 2K Goat also on a lap. Purple in that sector. So these times are starting to ramp up. I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty sure every single person's setting faster purple sectors. in the second sector, but it could be EA doing EA things again. As
I kind of noticed that earlier.
he dies in the pit, so that doesn't matter. MJ Roller looks to be finishing his lap, or maybe not. He's gone purple in the first sector, so he's going again. He's 2/10 up on 2 lap old tyres, I think. This is a solid time for MJ. Massive improvement in the first sector. It is starting to look a little bit overcast, but we have heard from Hato as a driver saying no rain, so
It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the temperature does play a pretty massive factor when it comes to like the tires and their optimal temperature. So maybe these tires are just getting into that. Maybe it was previously a little too hot for these tires, and now it's like absolutely perfect for these tires. But yeah, I did notice in particular today that there's a lot of drivers who wouldn't improve on a sector, but they would still somehow manage purple sectors. So it's definitely EA doing a little bit of micro shaboingery.
Dale's 4 seconds up with a 1:13, so this would put him somewhere in the top 10 relatively, but we'll see where this goes. This is his first proper run. See if he can get where his teammate is. He got up to P4 right behind him, so McLaren looking very solid in this Q2 session. They might be safe with those. We'll have to wait and see, but with how close it was in Q1, I don't think they are. I think everyone will have to be on their toes with this session, because everyone's still nowhere near the pace they were on. Everyone was setting 109 ones in Q1. Ferrari.
Yeah, pace.
Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, the track's getting more and more rubbered in, so these times are really gonna fall. Yeah, I think every time we have said that, oh, you know, insert driver here is safe, they were not safe. I think that happens quite a bit, especially because in these last few minutes of qualifying, these times are really gonna get jumbled up, like shuffling a deck of cards. You're not gonna sure what is gonna be on top, or which driver in this case. So it's really gonna be interesting, especially as this clock ticks down to 0.
Absolutely, mate. Just before it does click down, before everyone comes out, I am just going to quickly get a drink and I'll be straight back. If you could just run us through some facts about Netherlands, mate. If you have any.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's not like I just sit here with an entire thing of track history. Oh wait, I actually do. So I'm gonna butcher this, but there's a few different layouts of this track. This track originally was created in 1948. Bit of a longer track actually than it was. It's around the same, but it was a lot more kind of almost like an oval. So this track was a lot different. F1 used it in its early stages. The current layout that we are using now was developed in around it was developed pretty much right around 1999 and then used till today. Re-entered the F1 calendar in 2021. Obviously, so far with Max Verstappen winning 3 out of the 4 Dutch Grand Prix ever since it returned to the calendar. The only outlier being the McLaren of Lando Norris in 2024. But yeah, there's quite a few different layouts of this track, including a really funny layout that only is basically the little sweeping parts through Sector 2, which currently right now I believe it's a Williams currently in that area. Yeah, XD Lamb. And it is called I am going to probably mispronounce it, so I apologize to any Dutch viewers watching this, but the Oostel-Ijik circuit. It's only 0.8 miles or 1.4 kilometers. Really short circuit. Lap times around there would be pretty quick. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting circuit. And visually, although not in terms of like the overall layout, the original version of this Dutch Grand Prix circuit looks kind of similar to the original layout of Spa, because Spa's layout drastically changed quite a bit. And taking a look at my track map now, I think the only corner that kind of remains from the original track layout is turns 1, 2, 3, and then the last corner. So there's your random facts about the Zandvoort circuit.
Thank you very much, Rekus. We always appreciate those, I'm sure. Always interesting bit of history on this track. It's a bit of a new one compared to most tracks on the grid. Aussie, though, will be finishing his lap next, I believe. Currently in P11, needs a solid lap here to get through. Session starting to wrap itself up now, but a lot of guys on outlaps, a lot of guys yet to finish their lap. 50 seconds left in this one. We'll see what Aussie 2K can do. He doesn't improve. Well, he does, but he doesn't move up. So currently, he will not go through. I don't think he'll have time to do again unless he can somehow finish this lap and move up. But just seeing who's next. Lamb goes up to P7, so not sure if that's safe either. Yuki Bear, both Mercs will be looking to improve here. Yuki towing Plugger. As we've seen, this track's obviously less prominent with the tow compared to the tracks we've been racing at lately, but it still can help. Yuki Bear looking to really set some pace on fire here. He's been quick this season, leading the standings currently.
Yeah, we've seen some really good pace from Yuki, although in the Haas usually, so it's the first time in recent memory, first time of the season we're seeing him in a Mercedes, but I mean, so far he's gelling pretty well with the more seasoned Mercedes driver, Plugger behind. Yeah, qualifying is going to be done and dusted here. We'll see if Yuki and Plugger can go ahead and improve their lap times and get out of the drop zone for Mercedes, and they're both through, but everybody else, with the exception of Aussie, is still on track, and they still have to go through. JDI will be the next driver. We'll see if he can improve.
Yeah.
He does. He moves up to P8.
Plugger's out. Draco's next.
Out.
This is big. And he doesn't improve, but that's moved up. Lamb's gone into P10. That's dropped Yuki out of Q2. So both Mercs have been eliminated in Q2. That's a massive upset. Aussie 2K Goat obviously also eliminated. Wow, look how close it is though, mate, from P9 down to P15.
Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous of how close these drivers are. Once again, it's another case of 8/10 separate the top and bottom of this grid. And obviously we can talk about the elephant in the room of Kamikaze's ridiculous time, the first time we've seen in the 108s.
Wow.
But also, this is really, really good for McLaren, because right now McLaren, their biggest rival right now in the overalls is Mercedes. And with both Mercedes out in Q2, which granted in Rush, points go down to P15, but still, the points in the top 10 versus 11 to 15, there's quite a gap in those points. So, I mean, it's looking really, really good for McLaren on the point side of things here.
Yeah, obviously a big upset with the championship leader of Yuki being eliminated in that session. So I'm hoping we can get them in to have a chat and see how we go there. But Kamikaze leading the way comfortably. In saying that, from P1 to P10, there's only a 6/10 gap. It's not massive, so we'll wait and see what this next session entails. And they are your eliminated drivers. Aiden is Raiden, Yuki, Limitless, Plugger, and Aussie 2K Goat. Will not continue into Q3, so see if any of those guys want to jump in, but for now we will jump through into the next session, and this is going to get interesting. We've seen a 108 now. Are we going to see anyone else get into the 108s?
I think we're going to see some more 108s. I'd be very surprised otherwise. I mean, Kamikaze, I mean, I know this is his first race in Rush in a hot minute, but he has come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
He is just diving into the top of the qualifying sessions. I believe he topped both Q1 and Q2, so he just needs one more to get the Grand Slam of qualifying and get pole position on return. I was about to say debut, but I guess season debut, but still. it's going to be a really, really good result. And I think it's the first time V-Carb has been on pole position, at least in Division 2. I'm not sure about the other divisions, but it would be the first pole position for V-Carb in Div 2. So, really good there for the Faenza-based squad. Hopefully we'll get some of them in for interviews. But yeah, I mean, it's been a really, really strong qualifying session here so far. So far, I mean, both Ferraris are through. We have both McLarens, both RBs, and then the outliers are JDI, Lamb, and Squash. So, and also Dante. Can't forget Dante. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a really, really fun session.
Yeah, just a quick note too. RB definitely need this performance that's happening now for both drivers through into Q3. Obviously struggling in the ovals. So this is great to see if Kamikaze can lift that team up. He's just been signed to this team, so yeah, he looking like a massive injection of bit of good fortune for RB. They've definitely struggled at the open part of the season, so definitely much needed for them. Just seeing who will be the first to start a lap. Looks to be one of the RBs.
Looks like it's Lamb.
Lamb, yes. Right on board for him. Don't forget yellows, but I think that's just getting out of the way. So Lamb being quiet in these opening sessions. And looking to set a good banker before his final run later on in the session. Big understeer there into the hairpin. Lamb is a very aggressive turn in. If we watch his onboard here, you'll see what I mean. He's extremely aggressive at the turn in. That's the style of driving. And F1 24 is very fortunate. Big lock up there on the right side, but looking like a tidy lap so far, and we can see how direct he is on the front end of that car. As we see someone just jumped in the comments box, I'm not sure who that is.
Hello, boys.
Hello, Plugger.
Plugger, how you doing, mate? I mean, aside from the obvious.
Oh, mate, look, Q2 for me is perfectly fine. No dramas at all. I actually needed the break. We've got a free power hour here at home, and I needed to put washing on, so that's no dramas.
Well, there you go. You always gotta take every single win you can get. But
That's right.
yeah, unfortunate double Q2 exit, quite a shock exit there for both yourself and Yuki. So, do you guys think that you guys have the race pace to kind of make it up to the upper reaches of the points and try to extend your lead in the overalls?
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident. We're running more of a race setup, so time trial or quali time was never going to be amazing. Thanks Yuki as well, trying to give me a toe, pushing it close through, but yeah, just didn't quite get enough pace. But yeah, looking forward to the race and settling in, and hopefully, making our way up through the field.
All right. So, are you anticipating there being a safety car on this track? We know turn 1 can be pretty dicey at times, but just give us your thoughts.
I don't think so. It's a pretty wide open track in a way. Like, it's not like the streets of Jeddah and things like that. So, no, I reckon best to not assume that there'll be a safety car. So we'll play. But of course, you never know what'll happen.
All right. I'll pass you over to Dido if he's got any questions or comments.
No real questions. I think you covered everything. But obviously, reserving up tonight, not the end of the world being eliminated in Q2. Solid effort though, mate. Obviously, being close to your teammate, it's going to benefit you guys working through the field. So I wish you the best, mate, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Mace. Yes, just getting a bit of practice in for Wednesday, so I can hopefully beat you. That's the goal.
We'll see, mate.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Cheers, mate. You too. I believe someone else has just jumped in too.
The other Mercedes of Yuki. So, hello, Yuki.
Hello.
Alright, well, I'll kick it off with Yuki. So, obviously, championship leader, not usually the interview that we are having with Yuki. Obviously, usually in the winning seat or close. But Not the end of the world, like I was just saying to Plugger, mate, being down the end that stick in this track, but bit of work to do in the race, mate.
Don't count me out just yet. I did. I'm not bragging, but I did win from 11th last season at this track, so
Well, there you go.
I'm not too worried. It is my worst quali track on the out of any, but my race pace is actually pretty good. So
Yeah, well, obviously coming into this race, leading the standings, driving in a new team, obviously a lot of new vibes and everything. So obviously you're probably hoping for big performance tonight, and I'm sure you will deliver. And we'll maybe talk to you at the end of the race, mate.
hopefully,
Maybe I'll chuck you out of records anyway. But good luck, right?
All right. So overall, I know it's your first time being with Mercedes, at least for the current season. How do you feel that you're getting along with the Mercedes crew at the moment? Do you think you're vibing, or just give us your thoughts there?
I'm not absolutely hate them. All of them are bastards. No, no, it's good. It's good. It's better than Haas. I should say that. But no, it's good.
We don't. I mean, yeah, you can't be saying that. We don't have the Netflix crew here yet. We can't make money off this drama. I'm kidding.
So I'll
but
wait till
anyway.
we're getting paid.
Right. But anyways, best of luck to you in the race. See you next time.
See you, mate. Good luck.
See ya.
Alright, we'll jump on
I know
board.
it's kind of.
Oh, sorry, you go ahead, mate.
I know it's kind of late, but I did see from Two Door Gaming. We got 5 minutes left in Q3, so I think we should do our poll for poll, as he worded it.
Yes, well, I am unable to do that from my end, but I'm hoping if there is anyone listening that can do that, that would be great. But I'm going to chuck it out there at either this man we're on board with, Kat Chow, or Kamikaze at this stage, because these boys are super rapid. Seeing a lot more guys get closer to the 108, but I think Kamikaze has really got in a league of his own on this track. He's super wound up in quality pace. Oh, Kachow goes wide there. Lucky not to invalidate, but that will cost him some time. Don't think this will be pole. Gets into the... Oh no, he doesn't. Just off the 8s. Super close there. So Kachow, comfortable where he is at the moment, sitting in the pits, will wait till the last minute to go out. MJ Roller the next to start a lap. Don't forget, guys, if you want us to ride on board with anyone in particular for the last minute of this quali, use your points and we will jump on board with them. Currently only one to do that with on track, but yeah, McLaren will want to be using this to their advantage, obviously. Benefit massively from Merck being knocked out in that session, but I would not count Yuki especially out in the race. I think we'll see a very, very good performance from him come through the field, but MJ Roller starts his lap. I'll let you take us away for a lap with the McLaren.
Alright, so we are on board now with the McLaren of MJ Roller, currently sitting in P4. Going through this really twisty section in Sector 1. Very tight stuff there. It's pretty easy to invalidate on this track in general, let alone that really tricky sector. He does make an improvement in the Sector 1. Now this is a very high speed corner. He's got a full send. This is a corner you can be really aggressive on the brakes. Like Dito was saying earlier, really good for trail braking through a lot of these corners here. He did make a very slight improvement. It wouldn't be enough to even jump his teammate, I don't think, if so barely, but so far it is a good time. We'll see if he improves. Okay, that's a 10th up. He'll definitely jump his teammate at this point. Oh, little bit of a snap there coming into the chicane. And so that he's going to lose a little bit of that time. He might have lost that 10th that he had, but now he's starting the final corner into the last DRS zone. One of the longer DRS zones. We'll see if he improves. He does improve, and he does jump his teammate by a very slim margin, but he is now up into P3, and it's still a second row lockout for the squad of Papaya.
Yeah, it's just missing out on breaking into the 8s there again, but MJ, I think that little bit of a snappy head might have cost him a bit of time there. I don't think he'll have time to go again unless he wants to stay on that same tyre. But we see a few guys coming out. XD Lamb rolling out of the pits. Dante currently on a lap. Zen also on a lap. Squash Josh, Dale and Kachao all coming out. I wonder if Kamikaze's going to come out. As we see the vote come out now, guys, for poll. So get involved in that. Gamble your points. Obviously, we're not encouraging gambling. But give us all your points for sure. And we will hopefully see all these laps start very soon as Dante gets 2/10 up on his time. Still not enough to break into the top 3, but look how close that is. Splits the McLarens. And this is a really good performance for Dante. He got dropped from his seat for performance. And is now currently in P4 and Q3. So doing really well in my opinion.
Yeah, getting dropped from a team is always going to take a hit to your morale and to your confidence, but having pretty promising performances like this is definitely going to bring up your confidence, because confidence is such a vital tool for any driver. It doesn't matter if you're in F1, if you're endurance racing, even if it's, you know, just doing your regular day-to-day life. Your self-confidence is really going to help you out in the long run. So having the most amount of self-confidence without the point of it crossing over to arrogance is super crucial for your overall performance. And I think that Dante is really getting, you know, acclimated to his role with Sauber. And I mean, so far, I mean, like you said, P4 is a pretty solid performance, especially with how tight qualifying has been here today.
Yeah, I think Lamb is done and he's out of battery. Kamikaze will be the last to actually cross the line, so he's timed that to absolutely perfection. And I think he's got this pole wrapped up. I don't see anyone beating him, but we'll have to wait and see. Kachao still on a lap. MJ Roller on a lap. Dale also just finished, and MJ, so they cannot respond. Lamb, I think, is also done for. He will not improve, I don't think. Zen and Spry, the only ones that have an option. Oh!
That was close.
Yeah, that's going to cost him. I don't think he'll be able to improve on his time, but we may see. We'll see. Comes across the line, burns all. No, he doesn't even burn. It won't be faster for Kamikaze. But that's it. That's your grid anyway, so he still gets pole. It's a huge lap.
Yeah, Kachao was pretty close. He was 7,300s off of pole position, but Kamikaze, he took pole position, and I mean, a very good return to form. And I mean, just absolute domination for qualifying here for Kamikaze. So going down the rest of the qualifying order, we have Kachao, MJ Rolla, Thea Dante, Spry, Dale, XD Lamb, Squash Josh, Zenitsu, and JDI. That wraps up your top 10 in qualifying, Dito.
Yeah, very interesting there. I think Kamikaze is in a really strong position for this race, but obviously Kachao right behind MJ and a lot of guys that are quicker in the race than in quali, so this is going to be a great race. But I will let you take us away for this one, mate. But now this is where everyone swaps their strategies a little bit, puts a little bit of more wing on, and maybe their tyre pressures depending, but very interesting to see this race because I cannot pick the winner. I think Kamikaze is going to be hard to beat, but geez, that looks dark. Really dark.
Yeah, they were saying no rain, but then again, it happened in Div 4 where it was like kind of ominous weather, but not exactly. There wasn't any rain, and actually I think it happened in Portimao too for Division 2 where it looked super stormy once again, but just the rain never did fall. But I mean, yeah, I think race pace is going to be a really important talking point. Kachao has actually had a really strong performance in the last race in Portugal, and I think it was on his debut. I think he managed to squeak out a podium, I think, or got really close to one of the two. But he had really solid qualifying and really solid race results in Portimao. And it looks like it might be the same here as we see those 5 red lights come on. And it's a lights out and away we go. It's a good start there from the front speeders there. Actually, Spry gets a really good position. Dante jumps up a spot here into turn 1. No chaos here yet. A little bit of jockeying for position here after the moment. But so far so good. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Spry and MJ. That's unfortunate.
Oh wow, it's very interesting at that first lap, and then everyone's so close together as the Aston trying to sneak up the inside of Squash Josh there, but didn't get the move done. But everyone's still facing the right direction. The opening stint of this race. Oh, the Merc, Yuki Bear already up into P9. Big dive down the inside of JDI there, gets the move done. He is going to be one to watch out for in this race. He's absolutely rapid already on those softs. I don't know, I think he's made up 3 or 4, but his teammate Plugger has unfortunately dropped down to P18, so a bit of work to do for him.
Indeed, yeah. This track does have some pretty spicy overtaking spots. A lot of spots you can make a dive, and I think this track, aside from maybe Monza, is one of the tracks with the easiest overtakes from the outside. You can hook it around the outside in turn 1 just because of how it's banked. You can really send it around the outside there in turn 1, and also turn 11 is also really, really solid when it comes to overtaking. I believe that's towards the chicane. So it's going to be really, really interesting. I mean, we're going to see moves up and down the entire grid, but here's the thing to kind of note about this track is that the front left tires are usually the tires that takes the most damage when it comes to this track. They're the ones that kind of burn out the quickest.
Oh, Kachow's made a mistake.
We saw that. Saw a bit of debris flying from one of the billboards. Raining down, looked like snow for a second, so I was kind of confused and then remember what it actually was. Can you imagine if we had snow here? That'd be insane.
Sorry to interrupt, mate. Keep going.
Oh, good. I mean, it was pretty hectic stuff there. I mean, some was really close to each other, so everybody, with the exception of Dante, is actually even now, everybody's within a second of each other at the opening stages of this race, and Kachow is going to fly like lightning up into the lead of this race. And now, the Ferrari man, who was in the Red Bull last time out, is currently sitting in P1, Dito.
Yeah, he's doing a stellar job and leaving everyone behind at this stage while they battle it out. Dante up in the P3 doing really well. Look how close everyone is. Big, long DRS snake, pretty much for the whole grid. And we've seen this time and time again for Div 2, Div 5, Div 3, everyone very close. Dale trying to get past Spy and get up behind his teammate to work together here. As we see some drama in the background there's a yellow. Just trying to see who that's gone around. That's a McLaren. That's MJ. He's in the sand trap. So I'm not sure what happened there, but he has now got a massive job on his hands to get through the pack. Still a long race, but that will be looked at by the stewards after the race. A big shame there for MJ. He was in a very, very good position. So we go a little bit further up. Yuki Bear now up into P7 records.
Real quick, you did get a request to turn down the game volume just a little bit from SJ. Just a quick little thing, but yeah, so far it's been a pretty solid race here. A little bit of drama, obviously, unfortunately. Some issues befalling the McLaren MJ, but I mean, so far it's been pretty incident-free. The race director only shows a few slight contacts on lap 1, MJ and Dante, and then also Watanabe and Shifty got into a little bit of a touch and go, but okay, so I'm actually seeing in chat that MJ Roland did not have any kind of contact. He did something that a lot of gamers should do more. He touched grass and spun around for it. So touching grass is a good thing, just not when you're driving at about 150 miles an hour in a Formula 1 car.
Yeah, definitely not, mate. It's this battle between Yuki, Lamb, Dale, and all that. They're getting very heated, and I think Yuki wants to get past Lamb here. He's on the soft tyre, Should be able to make light work of Lamb relatively quick. He snaps back. He's going to go for the outside into turn 1. He's going to get it done. Don't lock wheels. Oh, that was super close. Yuki now up into P6, so he's on a charge and looking like he's going to go down the inside of the McLaren. Oh, wow. Yuki.
All right, Yuki.
Yuki on an absolute charge. Very, very good drive so far from him.
I mean, Yuki said that he's confident in himself. Man was not kidding. That guy is on a mission right now. He's got all, we were talking about confidence earlier when we were talking about Dante. This man's confidence is through the roof. This man is driving like he's got the confidence of Johnny Bravo right now on track. And he's making aggressive moves and they're sticking, which is extremely impressive. I mean, this is a track where very dicey overtakes can happen. I mean, turn 1 is honestly better to overtake around the outside, but still, great stuff here from Yuki Bear in the Mercedes.
Yeah, look, he's going to get the job done on the McLaren, and he has to get past Dante. Oh, wow. Super close there. Jeez, he's on an absolute mission, but he knows that if he lets Kamikaze and Kachel get too far away, this race will wrap itself up pretty quickly. And he's now trying to get past Dante, who both RBs, P2, P3, which is a massive, massive result for them so far. Huge ups to them. Currently at the bottom of the overalls, I believe, and they would love to secure this position.
Yeah, indeed. I was just checking actually to see where they were in the overalls. Alpine are actually at the bottom of the overalls at the moment. V-Carb is in P8 with Sauber in P7. So those are your bottom 3 currently in the overalls. Now looking at the Div 2 constructor standings, Sauber is currently in P6, but RB is definitely at the very bottom. So if it's a double podium for RB here, then it's gonna be.
Oh, we got an Aston in the wall. That's a
Watanabe's
safety
out.
car. That's a huge incident.
Ooh.
Huge incident there.
That car was not looking too healthy, as I saw a quick glimpse of it looking at the back of MJ roll it. That was yeah.
Oh.
The safety car almost trapped in front of MJ there.
Oh, God, that's so lucky that the game didn't bug him out there. Oh. Big drama.
Can we get a penalty on the safety car?
Yeah. Big drama on lap 7 there. I'm not sure what happened with Watanabe. He'll be absolutely fuming with that. That's a big crash. And we've seen incidents there before. So what does everyone do? I think you'll see a lot of guys pit for maybe the hards to the end. I don't know. Maybe not. A lot of double stacking will happen here. RB, Williams possibly, Aston not now. But yeah, interesting at this point of the race to have a safety car. It's a bit of a crossover point between the tyres. Not everyone would be happy to pit right now. Good chow, we'll see what he does. On the soft, I'd say most soft runners will pit. It'd be probably silly not to. As he dives in the pits, got to be careful of that pit lane. We'll see what tyres he chucks on. Looks like they're bringing out the white tyres of the hards. He's happy to go to the end on them. Lamb continues, so he doesn't want a double stack, I would say. With Shifty, Dante continues, or they're not happy to get off the mediums yet. Actually, a lot of medium runners are continuing.
Yeah, maybe they're betting on another safety car to come through, or something of that nature, possibly. I'm not too sure, but I mean, actually, quite a few people actually went from the soft to the medium. So some drivers are feeling really optimistic. Mediums being able to go to the end. I mean, if they try for a 2-stop, that's not really gonna be in their best interest unless we get another safety car incident. So very curious to see how the strategy plays out for the top 5 who have yet to pit in. But also, I just want to kind of make a little bit of a joke based on what Dynasty has said in chat. Touching grass here in the Netherlands is not great. I heard they have some really nice tulip fields that are probably a lot softer to touch and probably realistically equally as deadly to tire grip as grass here, but it looks prettier. So I guess instead of touching grass here in Zandvoort, you can go touch the tulips.
So interesting. What do the guys do that haven't pitted? They'll probably go to lap 20 or something to chuck on the sauce. I wonder if they're hoping for another safety. Definitely.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. They all have to pit. Obviously, Kachow has chucked on the hards actually, so he might be a bit of an anchor for a while. Kamikaze would want to get past him very quickly. But if MJ and the rest can break away from those guys, they should be in a good position. I think it's a big ask to get to the end on the mediums though.
Yeah, I 100% agree, especially because the front left tires are the tires that take the most abuse on this track. And so yeah, those front lefts are going to be extremely cooked. They're going to be on fires. They're probably going to resemble something like a marshmallow you left by the campfire for a tad too long come the end of this race. But also just kind of a note between the tire differences is that with the hard tires, these hard runners could push harder just because they're going to have that tire life advantage towards the end of it. They'll lose out on a little bit of the grip compared to the mediums and well, they would for the softs, but we don't have any soft runners at the moment. But we do have a green flag at the end of this lap, so that's exciting. We love to see racing happening again. But I do think that Chow can really turn on the afterburners and just go full send with those hard compound tires and still have that tire life advantage compared to the medium runners behind.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And Dante will lead us away with this one, so interesting there. In the kick Sauber, almost goes off track there. Lamb behind, we'll see when he goes. And these guys really need to try and work together to get away from the guys that are pitted, because they will not be on the optimal tyre. And Dante's gone, he's put the overtake on, and he's caught Lamb a little bit off guard, but not as much as he'd hope. Lamb is now under a bit of pressure from Hato behind. Into turn one, no overtakes that I can see, a little bit close in there. I saw someone go sideways there. Aiden looks to have lost a little bit of positions, maybe got on the power a little bit too early on those new tyres, new hards. Oh. Always makes me nervous on a safety car restart.
Yeah, I mean, there's an equal amount of carnage that is possible compared to like a race start, especially on some tracks with some really sketchy corners like here in say Monza where we raced earlier on in the season. But I mean, yeah, it's so far we've been without incident, but the question now really becomes is does Kachow really want to kind of try to preserve tire life? I would say not. I think he needs to get past this McLaren of MJ as soon as humanly possible, and I think he's in that same mindset because Kamikaze at this stage of the race is on the faster tire. So Kamikaze is likely going to do his namesake and send a ridiculous dive of the inside or the outside because this track is really friendly for sending it around the outside. We might even see it here from Kachow, but just doesn't quite have the real estate to make that stick.
No, unfortunately didn't. Oh! Wow. Oh, these guys are getting really close. Spry and Yuki going side by side. Spry actually decides to let him go past. So Yuki on another charge now on the safety car restart, trying to get back up to the front. Chuck on the interval, sorry. Look how close everyone is. These boys up the front haven't been able to break away. So the likes of the guys that pitted definitely will be favourable for this. Kachow on those hards, managing to hold on. Takes a couple of laps for them to warm up. And don't know. Hards have never really been favourable over the last few race weekends, but look to be a little bit better at Netherlands records because I see a lot more guys using them opposed to the last few weekends.
Yeah, and it might have something to do with the safety car, because I mean, you're really only required to use one, or you're really required to do only a single pit stop, and then you have to use two different tire compounds. So it kind of, that was pretty close there, and things are just getting really dicey in turns like 4 and 5. That gets really, really dicey there.
Yeah.
But as I was saying earlier, yeah, it's gonna be, the tires is really gonna be a big factor when it comes to this race.
Yeah.
You can make some really good sense, but if the send goes wrong, or even if the send goes right, you're really gonna burn those tires out more. So you really gotta find that perfect balance between aggression and preservation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting really dicey in this middle part of the race, in the middle mid-pack here. Dale and Yuki really trying to get past, and it's so hard when you're on new tyres and guys around you aren't, because this is what we're going to see. And we've got 3 wide down the main straight here, multiple moves into turn 1. Hopefully everyone can give each other some space. The Ferrari on the inside of MJ Ryler, bit of wheel rubbing, but nice racing from those two. And obviously Kachow's tyres might be kicking in a little bit. Well, the RB had to go really far out. Kamikaze there to get out of the way. The McLaren on the grass. Absolute chaos everywhere. I think that was a little bit of an end plate flying off somewhere there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'll take a look and see which car it was. I think that's
Kamikaze.
It looks like it's Kamikaze. Yes, the V car of Kamikaze. Our pole sitter having a little bit of damage. So that's going to hinder his race a bit. He's going to take corners a bit wider than he would like, especially with how twisty this track is. And it looked like he was about to lose a position to Dale there, so he's going to drop down a spot. And Kachawa's really run away from everybody else who's pitted while on these hard tires.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Managing to hold them off for that first few laps until they warmed up, and is now starting to apply pressure to the guys that haven't pitted. Lamb and all these guys and Hato are probably praying that they fight behind a little bit longer, because they really need some type of break so that they can try and get a pit stop in, because they still have to pit. They will be on the faster tyre at the end though. We're moving a little bit further down because this gap is getting close and chaos. Dale goes around the outside, tries to get it done, can't get it done on Kamikaze, and then that's allowed Spry to have a little bit look up the inside, decides better of it. Squash Josh also looking very dangerous on the back of Aids, or Aiden is raiding as he used the name instead, see if he can get up, reserving up tonight. Shifty Whizzer not having the race he usually would hope for. So got drama up ahead. Who's that? Someone's gone wide. That's Kamikaze. He's really struggling with that end plate damage, and I think he's just lost another one, or someone else has.
Yeah, I think that was someone else, because he still has the front left. The front right is gone, but that was the one that was already gone earlier. I'm looking to see who it is. It might be, okay, it's the Red Bull right behind him, so it's Squash Josh missing an end plate. So, like, brother like sister, as people refer to RB as the sister team, they're both missing that front right end plate, which isn't optimal, to say the least. You're going to lose a little bit of speed down the straights and also a bit of that extra downforce while cornering. But, yeah, I mean, so far Kamikaze, his race is just kind of fallen apart since the safety car restart.
Yeah, definitely not what he would have envisioned. Starting pole and then ending up where he is at the moment, but still a long race to go and hoping for another safety car, I'm sure. But getting up to the front now, they're starting to apply some pressure onto the one truth. His tyres might be starting to feel a little bit subpar, I would say. Kachow in the inside. Jeez, that's close. Nice helicopter vision here. See if he can get the move done. He'll have to burn a little bit of battery. The one decides to stick behind. We'll have to see, because how quick they can get past will determine the damage of this deciding to stay out, I would say, because if King Kachao can break away from the likes of Yuki and that, he's in a really good spot here. But Yuki, all the way up into P5, from starting down where he did, is a massive performance so far.
Indeed. He's just got to keep this performance up, though, because, I mean, anything can happen. Another safety car could happen, or he can get involved in any of these incidents. Shockingly, we're getting close to the halfway stage already. This track really feels like it just kind of flew by. But we're getting close to that halfway stage, and honestly, I think we're coming to the section where the cars who haven't pitted in yet are going to make their pit stops, as Kachao is just going to get past the closest thing that F1 has to Chick Hicks at the moment, the Kick Sauber of Dante. He's up another position. And now he's just got the Williams and the Haas in front of him, who are on older tires that are going to be certainly struggling for tire grip. So I think it's going to be definitely a matter of if, as opposed to, or it's a matter of when, as opposed to if, Kachao is going to go ahead and fly past these two cars in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think their time is limited, and it looks like it's going to happen now. Kachao really heating up the likes of Lamb. Lamb gets the job done into P1, and Kachao into P2. There's people going side by side everywhere. I can't keep up with it. And Yuki gets the job up into P4. So he is on a charge and showing why he is leading the championship for sure. There's these guys now that haven't pitted starting to struggle. The McLarens are next to try and get past One Truth and Dante. And they need to do that quickly. How quickly they do that is the deciding factor. I think if they can finish in front of Yuki. Moving a little bit further down, JDI is... Oh God, everyone's so close. You can't really pick who to watch at the moment.
Yeah, it's all super, super tight. It's, they're packed like a can of sardines currently through this mid-pack area, even up at the very front. These cars are so tightly condensed that one slip-up can really just change the entire formation of this race. I mean,
Yuki and Hato, so this is a bit of interesting rivalry here. Obviously, Yuki trying to pass his former TP, and they were very, very close to get.
Succeed.
He does succeed, definitely, but they were very close coming onto the main straight there. So now Yuki up into P3, which is basically second. Obviously, Lamb hasn't pitted yet. So he needs to get past Lamb and try and chase down Kachao. Kachao's tyres will definitely be optimal towards the end. I don't think those mediums are going to be feeling too good towards the end for the likes of pretty much everyone that opted for them. I think Kachao actually made the right call there, chucking on the hards.
Ferrari making a good strategy, that is unheard of in the real world, aside from Monza, but still, I mean, yeah, I fully agree. I think Kachao is on the right tires, especially with how hard Yuki is charging right now. I mean, it's the trade-off we kind of talked about earlier. It's, yes, you're going to have that better grip, you're going to be able to make the moves and make them stick, but you're going to kind of burn out that tire life, and you're just going to lose grip over time compared to the hard tire. So, I mean, he's making moves, the moves are sticking, and I mean, it's a great drive from Yuki regardless. Starting from pretty close to the back, got eliminated in Q2, and now sitting in P2. It's been a pretty good drive there for the new Mercedes man.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not complaining, and he's now chasing down the race leader with Kachao, so he needs to make use of these tyres while they're still the optimal one. And if he can get into the DRS of the race leader, this is definitely going to be a show. But these gaps are starting to break away a little bit from this DRS train, but still very close. The Haas of Hato and Dale going side by side now. No issues there, but very frustrated. I'm sure all the guys on the fresh tyres, they'll be really trying to get past here. And McLaren just haven't been able to get through this battle pack in front, and it's just allowed the likes of Yuki and Kachao to run away with this. Dale looks like he's... Oh, well, whose end plate was that? That was just a bit of debris, I think. Looks like there's finally some pit stops One Truth in the pits had enough of those tyres. Dale going to go for it down the inside. Late decision, gets it done, no problems. Hato, a little bit of wheel rowing there for them, but Dale will get the job done just with the extra grip. And now has some work to do to catch the top two. If he has any chance of getting a win in here.
They definitely have their work cut out for them. Yeah, I mean, right early on in the qualifying, I mean, this was definitely best case scenario for McLaren. I mean, their biggest rival in the overalls being Mercedes were way down the, both getting eliminated in Q2 while they both made Q3. But I mean, well, right now McLaren, yes, are in a double points paying position compared to Mercedes to have only one car in the points. The car scoring the points is currently sitting at P2. So, I mean, it's still going to be more points towards Mercedes. And, I mean, although neither side is getting that fastest lap point, because right now that is solely in the hands of Kachau, who actually has set a really quick lap time compared to everybody else. So, taking a look at some of the other lap times, the second quickest lap time that I can see on here is an 11.961 from JDI. Kachau has set a 1:11.293. So yeah, Kachau is really on the pace here tonight.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and he's maintaining that gap and keeping Yuki out of DRS. So he's doing a super job on those hards. Probably feeling them come into effect now, really. 13 laps, they'd be well and truly warmed up, but they'd be coming into their own now in these later stages of the race. Only 15 laps left now. So we move a little bit up here. A few guys jumping out of DRS now, but McLaren, Dale has managed to get past Dante and Spry. And now MJ Roller is trying to do the same. With JDI right behind him. Looks like the mediums are struggling here, Rekus, compared to the hards. I don't know if the hards are the optimal tyre. Hato has pitted and chucked on the softs. So he has also pitted. Plugger will go to the end. Oh god, that was free wide into turn one. Yeah. Oh. Come on, boys.
Too much more of this. I'm gonna have to go run to the store and go buy some popcorn.
Yeah, that was
this
super
is
close.
cinema right here at Zandvoort.
Yeah.
Although, granted, I don't think any store that would sell popcorn is gonna be open at 5 in the morning. But you know, American dream. But still, yeah, very good racing. Yeah, those medium tires are definitely got the VIP seats on the struggle bus here as we get to the second half of this Grand Prix here in Zandvoort. Yeah, I think overall, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a personal comparison between the lap times of Kachau and Yuki to see if there's a bit of any kind of pace difference. I mean, so far, Yuki does appear to be catching up to the Ferrari up ahead, but still not within DRS. So let's go ahead and see the lap time difference. A 1:12.4 and then a 1:12.6. So actually, Yuki was slower than Kachau by around a few tenths, and Dante is okay. Never mind, Dante's in the pits. The pit thing didn't show for a second, so I thought Dante may have had an incident, but nope. He's getting rid of those archaic mediums and throwing on some brand new soft tires. These soft tires, though, I mean, they might be able to get to the end, but I mean, they may be begging for mercy by the time lap 36 rolls around. As Hato on a set of soft tires says the fastest lap of the race with a 1:10.727. Very rapid lap time there from the Haas.
Yeah, I think he'll struggle. Maybe when some guys pit around him, he might be able to get back into points, but was struggling on the hards. He just on the mediums decided to jump off onto the softs, so he's got a little bit of work to do. Moving a little bit up, JDI really looking dangerous on the back of MJ Roller. These hards, I'm telling you, are looking really quick. And obviously MJ 22 laps to JDI's 15. MJ I think still has to pit. He may have pitted right on lap 1. Could be wrong there. He may have pitted on lap 1.
Yeah, he gets the move done. There wasn't really much of a fight there from MJ Rolla. I mean, he, he's got the older tires, and I mean, as we're seeing, that the Hards are really a strong tire here in the Netherlands. I mean, you can just see that kind of pace between Kachao and Yuki. Although Yuki is catching slightly, I don't think it's been enough to really make a massive, massive difference between these cars. But I think, yeah, I think we're pretty much getting to that point where the medium tires are really going to be on the struggle bus.
Yeah,
So
Yuki's struggling to get into that DRS. The gap is definitely getting a bit bigger now. Yuki's tyres lost that edge. And the likes of this race has definitely not gone the way I expected. McLaren really showed up again, P3, P5, but MJ still has to pit, so he will drop down. But just seeing all these guys on the soft tyres, how far they can get up in these last parts of this race will be very interesting. And we get a safety car, it could be even crazier as we're just off 10 laps remaining. Limitless Draco gets the job done on Spry, or maybe not just yet. Takes a little bit longer. Side by side action here in these later stages. Different strategies and different people around you on different tyres. So definitely a recipe for drama towards the end of this race. And we could see some unfolding incidents coming. Shifty has been quiet this race. He's up in a P7 now.
yeah, just taking a quick look at the position changes right now. The biggest movers going up is tied between Shifty and Yuki. They're both up 10 positions from where they started. However, the biggest, don't want to call him a loser because they're definitely very talented. But the one who's lost the most positions is the Kick Sauber of Dante. But he did pit in, and there's a few cars ahead of him that still need to make a pit stop. So possibly, and speaking of pit stops, Dale is going to go ahead and get his pit stop done.
3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, and it looks like it might have been 4 there for a second there. These 4 cars are just so close to each other. It is scary stuff there.
Yeah, this is
excellent effort from these 4 to keep it clean and keep it aggressive.
Yeah, this is for the podium position now, so this is getting really heated. Obviously MJ still has to pit. He will be struggling on those tyres now. Definitely, but JDI, Aiden and Shifty will get to the end. Shifty's tyres will be hurting towards the end compared to the guys around him. And Squash Josh also starting to reel that gap in with these guys fighting. The 2 Red Bull will be able to work together there. Just want to watch too how fast these guys on the softs are from behind too, because they've still got some time to gain, but they are running out of time. There's not long left in this race. There's 10 laps left, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I mean, you still got MJ Rolla, who, I mean, yeah, he was making really solid moves, especially on those. Being the only car who has not pitted yet, those medium tires are definitely on life support at the moment, but still able to make some really solid moves. He is going to try to push his tires probably towards the very end of the race and then snap on the softs and really start cooking. Because MJ's really got the pace right now. So, I mean, I don't think a win or maybe even a podium might be in contention for the McLaren, but I wouldn't exactly count him out just yet. I think MJ really has some untapped potential. I mean, he's keeping up with these drivers that are in tires that are about 10 laps younger than MJ Rolla's, and he is still keeping up with them pretty handily. He is losing a bit to JDI there, but I mean, so far still a very excellent race there from MJ Rolla. He's been doing superb ever since, or just the entirety of this race. He hasn't had a pit stop yet.
Yeah, we have an interesting question from Tudor asking, do we reckon the mediums will last to the end? I mean, I don't know. MJ's in the pits, so he definitely had to pit, but the guys all on lap 20, 20-year-old mediums would definitely be struggling. And I'm not sure. I think they can definitely push it to the end, but they're going to be quite slow. And XD Lamb is leading that soft runner pack, and they're almost on the back of the DRS there. Top two have absolutely ran away with it. That battle will be between those two. And I think Chow is in the hot seat for this win with the optimal tyre. Choosing those hards was definitely a right decision.
Agreed. I think even in the last lap alone, I think Beer lost 4/10 to Kachow. Maybe even more, maybe less, but he still lost a considerable amount of time. There was some stages where he was like just within touching distance of DRS, and now it's that's definitely not the case. He's about 2.5 seconds behind. We'll see the lap time comparison between the two. It's a 1:12.5 and then a 1:12.7. So yeah, 2/10 slower on lap 28. The tires are the same age. They're both 21 laps old, but it's the medium versus the hards, and the mediums have really been struggling. And Spry on 21 lap old mediums is calling it into the pits. So he's probably going to chuck on a set of soft tires and probably going to try to get to the end of the race on those while taking the fastest out to boot. Oh, he had a front wing replacement needed anyway, so that was probably more for that front wing versus any actual like tire wear. But yeah, the mediums will go to the end, but they're going to be begging for mercy.
Yeah, this could be interesting because got the likes of Lamb, Dante, and Dale all really, really quickly closing in on these top sort of 5 here. All already pitted on that soft tyre. Oh, Lamb and Zen going side by side there. Lamb very desperate to get through. Cannot lose the guys in front. And this is getting interesting because we are going to have to see if the meds can go to the end. We've got Dynasty saying 90% wear, which is definitely puncher territory. Anything after 70% is not where you want to be. So these guys have some work out to do. Still 6 laps remaining. Lamb gets the job. Trying to get the job done around the outside. The Pluggos get so much more grip at this stage of the race, and will get it done. So now his job lies in front.
Yeah, I pretty much heavily agree with what you're saying about the tire wear. Honestly, when it comes to F1 24 in particular, 70% tire wear might as well mean 100%. Basically the same thing. They're both likely to go kaboom at any moment, which would really, really suck for a lot of these drivers. I mean, Yuki Bear has definitely entered his villain arc in that Mercedes with a monstrous drive. He's moving like heel John Cena from tonight's Elimination Chamber. And I mean, he's been having a really solid race here, but a blowout could really curtail the whole effort.
Dale and Aussie just made a little bit of contact there, but nothing serious, as Aussie's trying to hang on here as Lamb gets the job done on Limitless Draco, so that's another down. And I don't think these guys are pitting now. They're committed to the end, so are we going to see some position changes here? Kachow, anyone on hards is safe. Kamikaze and Shifty are in trouble here, or Lamb's his teammate, but these guys are super cool.
Oh, massive contact! There's massive contact in the backfield between Zenitsu. They both went side by side, got a bit too into it, and that's a spin for both drivers. And definitely some damage on definitely the Ferrari. Yeah, the Ferrari's front wing is done. I don't know about Plugger. Plugger just kind of went back into it. He's already overtaking the car. He already re-overtook Hado, but that is definitely Zenitsu's race done and dusted. The stewards are probably going to have to do some kind of investigation on that. It was a nasty moment there.
Big lucky there to not have a safety car. My driver of the day, personally, is either Yuki or Shifty. Personally, Shifty. But I don't want to be biased there. So I will say Yuki. Just to satisfy the audience. So who's your driver of the day, mate?
I definitely agree between Shifty and Yuki. Although I would lean slightly more towards Yuki, considering the fact that I mean, they both made up a similar amount of positions, yes. Um, Let me see the exact number of position changes. So, I mean, Shifty has moved up more positions, but Yuki is currently sitting on the podium. But it's really tight. I 100% agree that it's really going to be between Shifty and Yuki for driver of the day. Based on the amount of positions moved, I would say maybe Shifty, but also on the opposite side of that coin, Yuki has had to kind of get acclimated to running with a new team, so bit of a few challenges there, but yeah, it can really go either way.
Yeah, well, I mean, Yuki, just his absolute dominance coming through the field has to be looked at. Like, that was definitely worthy of being mentioned, and he's now, I don't think he can get the win here, but you never know, as this race is still yet to be decided. We will have to wait and see.
Actually, Dynasty does bring up a good point too. I'm just looking at chat, seeing those recommendations. SJ saying Kamikaze had damage twice and still sitting at P7, which is pretty solid. I mean, he filled on quite a few places, but two pit stops for damage repairs and still sitting in a pretty good points paying position. I mean, that's a good candidate. And also, Kachow had a safety car chucked at him, and he is moving really, really good. That's a really strong pace. And as far as I know, this is only his second race with Rush. So, and especially with how competitive Div 2 is as a whole, I mean, I think all four of the drivers mentioned, Yuki, Shifty, Kachow, and Kamikaze, I think those are all very solid candidates for a driver of the day.
Yeah, I think things are going to get heated here for this P3 position though, because you got the likes of JDI. He's not out of DRS with this pack. You got Shifty there fighting. You've also got his teammate coming rapidly behind on those softs. He's now down at 2.5 seconds. And at that rate, if he was continuing, he would get into DRS by the end of the race. So this could be really interesting at the later stages here. JDI would be noticing that, would have to be pushing to try and break the DRS of these two. He's almost done, he's 8/10 now. And then you got other battles forming all the way down from pretty much Kamikaze down, yet to be decided in these positions. Not really any penalties too, which is interesting too, Rekus.
Yeah, I mean, the only penalty is for the one truth, and that's drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. But yeah, no track limits violations, at least nothing penalty worthy. I know there have been a few warnings given to a few of these drivers, but none of them have really resulted in any kind of penalties. Actually, going through the race directory, let me see if there is any kind of major incidents and notes. Yeah, I mean, out of the drivers of the day, there was some slight contact with Shifty at turn 1, but didn't lead to anything consequential, so I don't think that really needs to, doesn't really need to kind of be noted. But looking at the driver of the day poll in chat, it's actually a three-way tie between Shifty, Kachow, and Yuki. So 2 votes apiece currently in Twitch chat. So it'll be very interesting. And I think, honestly, all three of these drivers do deserve it for different reasons. But I think in general, oh, and actually, oh, that's the one truth. I was looking at the wrong Alpine. But I think, in general, those three are definitely some really solid candidates for driver of the day. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of picks that could be driver of the day, and this is just about to get very interesting because Lamb is now on the back of this DRS pack for this last lap with that soft tyre. You've also got a few guys getting very close together on this last lap. We've got yellows too. What's happened there? There's someone made contact.
Oh, there's a end plate missing on Squash Josh's vehicle. Front right end plate's gone. Maybe he had a little bit of contact. I'll look at the race director for that.
But I will let you take us away for this P3 battle for the last lap, mate, because it's anyone's game from P3 to P6 at this stage.
Alright, so we are here on the final lap of this race here in Zandvoort. It has been a battle up and down the grid. The battle on your screen right now is for P3 at the moment. Right now, Aiden is looking to take Alpine back to the podium. It's been a very well-driven race for him. He's been up 8 positions himself. He's got JDI and Shift, or actually both of Williams, directly behind him. He's keeping the pace. He is on the hard tire compound, which is the favorite tire right now, and I think also JDI is as well. So it's hards versus a medium and a soft runner. Now, there's really only one more shot to overtake. This is really going to get close as Kachow, in his second race in Rush, takes the race win here. And Yuki will certainly come in second, but who comes in third? That's going to be the question. They're following in a conga line, and Aiden is ready
just
to
stay
take
there where
it.
they are.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and stay where they are. Aiden is rated P3, JDI in the P4, Shifty P5,
That
and
was
it
close
is
between
an
MJ and
excellent race here in
Kamikaze.
Zandvoort.
Wow, look how close it was between MJ and Kamikaze. Super close. Massive hats off to Kachow too for the race win. We missed him obviously crossing the line. My apologies. I was too wound up in the battle there. Aussie crosses the line. Not the race he would hope for his debut back into Rush. But we will get these guys into the interviews as quick as possible. And we'll see who the driver of the day looks to have been. It looks like it might
Looks
be
like Yuki. It's Yuki both in game and also via Twitch chat. So I think that's deserved. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable bet that he definitely got driver of the day. But yeah, a few people could have definitely got that one. We will jump into these interviews relatively quickly. Aiden is rating Yuki and Kachow, but that is the grid. JDI P4, Shifty P5, Lamb P6, Dale P7, Dante P8, Kamikaze P9, MJ P10, Limitless P11, Squash Josh P12, Hado P13, Spry P14, Plugger P15, Aussie 2K P16, One Truth P17, and Zen P18. Watanabe unfortunately DNFing with a massive crash we saw at the early starting of that race, which he would have been frustrated with. I'm not sure what happened there, but really lucky that he didn't spin back across the track when he hit the wall, because that was in a terrible spot coming onto the main straight with everyone, how close they were. But great race from everyone, in my opinion, and yeah.
Yeah, agreed. That was probably one of the most entertaining races we've had of the season in Division 2. Really solid. A lot of on-track battles. A lot of clean racing, too. Not a lot of penalties. Only one DNF. Yeah, it was just a really good race in general. That's why I love Zandvoort. Zandvoort is such an amazing track when it comes to just overall racing, and it just provides so many good overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You're spot on, and I would agree with you when you say that that was probably one of the most competitive races we've had for Div 2 this season. Yet to have anyone jump in the comms box, but we will hopefully get them in as soon as possible. Sorry, just there we go. Someone jumped in. It's Yuki
It is
in
our
P2.
driver of the day, Mr. Yuki Bear. You said you had race pace. You definitely were not wrong. But overall, how did the mediums feel to you on the second stint there after the safety car?
Okay, maybe.
Maybe not. I know he's in here. Maybe his mic might be muted.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna just wait. Unfortunately, Aiden has stuff to do, and also Kachow, unfortunately, doesn't have a mic. So yeah, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think unless Yuki,
if you can hear us,
unmuted.
yeah, just try and leave and join back. Sometimes you get that issue where we can't hear you.
Yeah, sometimes that tends to happen.
There we go.
Maybe?
You hear me?
Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's a big bug with that lately on Discord, unfortunately.
Sounds about right.
Well, you get the limelight, mate, and obviously spoke to you in a less positive start before, obviously, with being eliminated in Q2, I think it was. But yeah, absolutely chopped through the field as expected, and as you said, you were going to do. Got yourself driver of the day, secured P2, massive points for Merck. Seen some interesting moves had to be done there, mate. Obviously, really aggressive having to get through the field, but if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have finished where you were. And just tell us a little about some of those moves, mate, because they were real. You had full confidence in your setup and your braking to get those done with some of those. So definitely some of those should be clipped, mate, because I reckon I'd chuck some of them up on the TikTok with some of the moves we saw you doing.
I can't lie. Some of them weren't exactly planned. Some of them were definitely set up for a few people, but no, they were. I knew I had to get through the pack as quick as I could on the original start, and then after the safety car on the mediums. But I knew I did say I had new race pace, and there's a few lucky moments where I almost could have ended up in the wall, but no, it was good.
Yeah, well, it was a tie between you and Kachow for driver of the day, but I do think just because the sheer positions that you had to gain to get to that position, I think you deserve driver of the day through and through for me. But I'll chuck you over to Rekus in case he has any questions.
I'll go ahead and ask you the same question I asked earlier before Discord decided to not work. So overall, how did you feel about the pace on the medium tires? Do you think you really just had the race pace but not the tire life, or just walk us through your thoughts about the second stint on those mediums?
They felt really good until they hit 70%, which kind of was like they didn't. But the original plan was to get through the field a little bit quicker on the safety car restart and then keep it with Kachow, because then I was hoping to get in front, or at least be able to sit behind and chill, save some tyres. That didn't work because I got stuck behind Lamb for a few corners too many and just lost the tiniest bit of time. Just like a tenth or two, and that was it. I had the same thing in another league with, I think, Kamikaze. You're just so hard to catch when you're behind.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, you still ran a really solid race. You got driver of the day from us here, the commentary box. I know it was a tight switch chat between yourself and Kachow, but still, you had a really excellent race today. Next week, we are heading to Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. So how are you feeling about that track? Are you feeling confident? Is it a track you're a big fan of, not a big fan of?
Good track for me, actually. This one was one of my worst tracks, and the next one was decent, better, but Australia is what I'm looking for, because that is, if not my best track. So that'll be very, very good to race.
Awesome. You also brought in a lot of points for Mercedes. New partnership seems to work pretty well. And I can't wait to see what you do for the rest of the season, and best luck next week.
Alright, cheers boys.
Thank you, mate. Alright, well that's it. That's Division 2 wrapped up for another week and another massive race. And obviously a big weekend tonight, obviously with Div 4 and then Div 2. We'll wrap that up because I'm pretty done for commentating tonight. And but yeah, what a race. Obviously couldn't get everyone in for the interviews, but huge congrats to Kachow for P1, and obviously Aiden is raiding for P3. So that's it from me. Unless you have anything to say, mate, we will wrap it up there.
I just want to give a massive thank you to our spectators at home. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and drop a follow so you don't miss any of our other races. We still have, even though we've been through Division 1, Division 4, and Division 2, we have 3, 5, 6, and the reserve program still coming up throughout the week. So go ahead and make sure you're following us here on Twitch so you don't miss any of it. And also go ahead and check out our socials. They'll be linked into, or I think in the actual Twitch channel. And also, obviously, a massive shout out to all of our sponsors here. In particular, AI369. All the links for our sponsors will be periodically scattered through Twitch chat. And yeah, we will see you guys next week for Yas Marina.
Thanks, guys.